From the News Channel 5 Network, this is OpenLine.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to OpenLine. Glad you are with us tonight. We have a fun topic. We are talking about movies, one of my favorite topics. And it's a perfect time of year to talk about it as families get together. Is there a good movie in the theater, playing in a movie theater you should go see? Or what about streaming? So we're going to talk about that. And also just what do you think defines a Christmas movie or a holiday movie? What are some of your favorites? Love for you to call in with your thoughts. We have with us film critic Jason Shawhan. He is joining us via Zoom. Jason, thank you for being with us.
Absolutely, anytime.
So, all right, so again, 3 topics. I want to talk about movies in the theater right now, movies streaming right now, in case there are people watching and they families in town, they want to watch a movie, whatever, over the holidays. That's certainly what we did. And then the whole concept of, it's just some great Christmas movies in general. But what's in the theater right now? What are some things that are of interest in the theater right now?
Well, first and foremost, there's actually a Christmas movie in the theaters right now, although it's not really being billed as that, but Spencer, the new Pablo Larraín film about Princess Diana and the last Christmas that she spent as part of the royal family in the early 90s. It's set during Christmas. It's all about like the oppressive traditions that, like Christmas customs can bring down on someone. It's all the decorative finery and the colors and the meals, the oppressive meals. But it's a great film. Kristen Stewart is exceptional in it. But it's just really weird because like it is a straight up Christmas film and it's in theaters right now. And I think it's doing okay. It's not doing like huge numbers, but it's really good. And I would not be surprised if she doesn't get some Oscar attention for it.
That's what I heard. I did hear that, and we're not necessarily talking about Oscars right now, but that's someone who probably will be nominated, is what I heard. For
I would
Best
think so.
Supporting
Actress. It's a great performance, and if all you ever knew her from was like Twilight, and then you watch this, you'd be like, well, who's that?
Yeah.
Because you don't see any of that in here. She's that good. And then in addition to that, just opened today, in fact. I haven't even gotten to see this yet, but I'm going to go this weekend with my family, House of Gucci, which is like, it's not explicitly a Christmas or holiday film, but it's all about like a family history and all of like the secrets and boundaries and issues and betrayals and all of that. And that's something anybody can relate to when they're having to spend time with their family.
Is that getting good buzz?
Do
you think that's going to be a good movie?
I think, well, here's the thing. I don't know if it's going to be a good movie because I trust Ridley Scott as a director. I trust Gaga as an actress, and like it's a great cast. And I've heard the gamut of things from like critic friends who've already seen it and stuff. But how I know it's going to be something special is because over the past like few weeks, anytime I've been in a situation where it's come up like, oh, you're a critic, or like that press screenings that they've done for awards season, like the people ring it just like, have you seen Gucci yet? Like, people who don't normally, like, I won't say pay attention, people who aren't normally like into movies are concerned and interested about this film. So I think it's just, A Star is Born was such a phenomenon, like artistically and emotionally. And I think, when Gaga makes a film now, it's a big deal. So, and I feel like people are going to respond to that. And I can't wait to see it. I love a big family drama. Like, even if it's terrible, it's going to be terrible like an old rerun of Dynasty or something, and that's fine. But it's like, Ridley Scott, just earlier this year, he did The Last Duel, which was great, and sadly, nobody saw that one. So, I trust him as a filmmaker, and I think this is one of those situations where it's just like, it's perfect timing. Is like everybody's, like tryptophan comas and all of that. And like, what do you want to do? You want to see rich people tear each other apart. And that's House of Gucci in a nutshell this week. So I can't wait for that.
Yeah, Last Duel came out. That came out a couple weeks ago, maybe a month or so ago. My question is, are people going to the movies? Are
Yes.
theaters back now after COVID? I've been a couple times and I have not seen like sold out theaters.
They're back-ish. Their theaters are back-ish. It depends on the film. It depends on like what sort of audience it's going for, and it depends on the time of day. So yeah, I've been on the business end of sold out screenings, and, but it's like, different places have different like capacity concepts. But like, like mainstream theaters, I don't think they've got any sort of capacity restrictions, but I mean, there's like, things are popular. Just this past weekend, like the Ghostbusters film, that's like bringing in audiences. And then, earlier, like a month or so ago when Halloween Kills came out, that was just sort of like, people were like, oh yeah, there's like different audiences have different philosophies about whether it's safe to go back to the movies. And, my personal philosophy, as long as you wear a mask, like it's pretty much safe to go to any sort of movie situation.
And are movie theaters counting on a big Christmas holiday? I mean, a big Thanksgiving, Christmas, generally that's a big time of year. Are they counting on it now really to get?
Oh, I would think so. Although honestly, it's sort of like the pandemic decimated business so much last year that I feel like, any steps back towards like attendance is seen as a good thing. I think they're definitely going to be like pushing for stuff, but they're also going to be realistic about things. I think the new Spider-Man movie is going to be the big test of that, because like you had some like Dune and Eternals and stuff that were like, they brought in audiences. I mean, like they made money that would have been respectable even if it weren't pandemic times. But I feel like definitely, I mean, it's just sort of like it's an unprecedented time, because like, last December we didn't have the vaccines and everything was just sort of giant question marks as far as the eye could see. And I think it's just sort of like everyone and all of the companies that are involved are sort of finding their slow way to step back into this.
Dune, you mentioned Dune. Which was in theaters and did fairly well in theaters. It was also streaming, so it was also released on HBO Max, so people could stay home and watch it. And that's been something we've seen with a lot of movies. And I know it's upset some, And is that the new? Are we going to get away from that, or is that going to be the new normal?
I think it depends on the kind of film. I think the big screen experience films like the Marvel movies and like Dune and that sort of thing, I think they are exclusively going to go with theaters, because that's where you can like make the big money now. I think the mid-budget film, like the more crossover art house things, I think they're going to stick with day and date streaming, where they can, just because that audience, like older folks, like this is big generalizations, but like older folks aren't as likely to come see something, in a big crowd or things. And those kind of films depend on that audience. So I honestly think it's like the number one determination is what kind of film is it and like what are they going for. But like the big 4-quadrant films, I think they're going to switch back. If they were trying out the day and date streaming thing, I think they're going to switch back to exclusive theatrical.
Right. Okay. All right. Let's go over a few movies. You mentioned House of Gucci. That should be a fun movie. You mentioned Ghostbusters. It's out there. It's it's a follow-up to Ghostbusters, like generation later. Is it good? What's kind of the gist of that?
Well, going into it, I saw it last Sunday, and I had heard the widest gamut of responses to a film that I've ever had in my life. Like I've heard everything from, this is like everything that anyone who grew up in the 80s could want. It's like a reassuring hug from the past to like help make the future easier to deal with, all the way to it was a panoply of necrophilia that was just exploiting all this inchoate nostalgia that people have to no end, other than just, empty special effects. So like, that's literally the continuum of responses I heard.
That's quite a response. That's quite a response. So that last one's pretty negative. That's rough.
Oh yeah. And so I went in, I was just like, let's see how this turns out. And like, I liked some of it. I didn't like other aspects of it. See, I'm in the vast minority. I was fine with the 2016 version with the all-female cast. Like, I was just like, this is an interesting sort of like, this is an interesting riff on this material. And this one is explicitly like, we are talking about the legacy of the 1984 original. So, I mean, it's just so automatically I was sort of kept at arm's length from the material on that aspect. But I mean, like, it's imaginative. There's some funny stuff in it. There's some imaginative stuff in it. It was fine.
I like the idea of the hug that brings me back to the 80s. I'll take that. I haven't seen it, but I want to see it. It looks like it might be okay for me. Disney has a movie out. Disney Encanto, is that right?
Yeah. No, I haven't seen this one yet, but I mean, like, it's a Disney musical, and they don't mess around with that. Like, I trust what they're doing, and that is something that I will catch up with. I'm traveling for the holidays right now, so like once I'm back on my home ground, I will. That's definitely something I'm going to check out, because the songs are by Lin-Manuel Miranda. The cast is really interesting. Stephanie Beatriz from not Reno 911, Brooklyn Nine-Nine is the lead in it. And honestly, I can't. I have to support a film with a hero or heroine who wears glasses, and this is the first Disney film with a glasses-wearing protagonist, and I'm like, I'm interested in that. That speaks to my experience.
What an interesting stat. So that's okay. So look for that. First film, Disney film with a protagonist wearing glasses. Disney. Okay, that's
first musical Disney film. Yeah.
First music. Okay, awesome. Another.
And then.
Oh, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. Oh, well, there's another one coming, like right exactly splitting the difference between Thanksgiving and Christmas, called Benedetta. And it's the new film from Paul Verhoeven, who did RoboCop and Basic Instinct and Starship Troopers and Showgirls. And this is a French language film set in the late 14th century? Late 15th century, about a young woman who has visions and goes into a convent, and there's lesbian nuns, there's a plague, there's like gender theory. It's absolutely filthy, and it's amazing, and it's one of the best things I've seen on. Like, it's so smart and so sly about what it's saying about how our society really hasn't changed all that much in the past 600 years. But it's really nice to get a film that's just that smart and incisive, that's also that amazingly filthy. I mean, it's like one of the enduring legacies of the exporting so many films for an international audience is that they've definitely been toned back as far as like nudity and sex and like actual bloody violence. And this film is just like, oh no, this is what we do here. This is part of this story.
So that's going to come out. That's coming out after Thanksgiving, before Christmas, after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's like the second week of December. So it's like right after Thanksgiving and right before Christmas, and it will shake you to your very foundations.
Let me shake you to your foundation. Well, look at that. Let me ask another thing. Then I'm going to take some calls here. The James Bond movie, No Time to Die. Again, let's say you're at home, it's Thanksgiving, everybody wants to go to a movie. Is this a good movie to go see? Family movie kind of thing?
I mean, yeah, I feel like people who want to see that film probably have already done so. But I mean, it is available like on premium streaming right now, and I could absolutely, that's the kind of, the James Bond films have a very, like, all the sort of like big traveling around the world action films. There's always a certain like, it lends itself to family gatherings, because like, everybody's got opinions, and some people might have actually been to wherever they're going, and it's like, it's an interesting film. Like, honestly, my thought on it, I wanted the sequence in Cuba that reunites Daniel Craig and Ana de Armas, who were so great together in Knives Out. All of a sudden they're back together in a James Bond film, like having action adventures all over Cuba. And I was like, I would love a spin-off film of that. That was like my favorite part of the whole film. But also, I'm not hating on the rest of the film. It was long. It was real long. But any movie that has a bad guy with a lair that has an acid pit somewhere in there, totally cool by me. Can't go wrong with an acid pit.
Can't, no. I bet he throws him in the acid pit. I don't know. All right, let's go to Mike. Let's go to Mike online here. Mike, are you there?
Hey, how you doing? Good evening, Ben, and good evening to your guest. First of all, to get this out here first, I wanted to know, do you think Lady Gaga's role in Gucci, just her as an actress, a new actress, getting into the big screen, is she going to be a fizzle where the light goes out after a couple of movies that may do well or may not do well, kind of like Madonna tried to do, but then basically the Hollywood world was like, we've given you a chance and basically you suck, and just stay with the music career? or do you see a long-term future with Lady Gaga and what you've seen with this Gucci movie? Second of all, I want to know if you've heard of a movie called Mangrove. It's about blacks in the in the 60s and 70s in England and Britain, and some of the struggles they went through. Also, No Man Land. Have you with Frances McDormand? Have you heard about that? And what is your opinion? And one more picture, and it is called An Easy Girl. And it's based in the Cannes, where they have the Cannes Film Festival. But it's basically about these young black French women and Algerians. And I just wanted to see if you could give me your viewpoint on those movies. And I hope you guys both have a great Thanksgiving tomorrow.
All right, thank you. I hope you have a great Thanksgiving. Mike's asking a lot. Nomadland, I know you know Nomadland.
Yeah, Nomadland. I mean, won Best Picture last year. I thought it was beautifully textured, some great performances. I would love to watch a whole thing about Charlene Swanky's character. I thought she was absolutely fascinating. And, I like films that bring attention to what it is like to be sort of like adrift in the modern workplace. I like that one quite a bit. I hadn't heard of An Easy Girl, but I'm going to look into that because that absolutely is something that I'm interested in. Like Algerian cinema, there's so much going on there. And then the first one you mentioned, Mangrove, is part of the director, Steve McQueen. He did a 5-film series called Small Acts that's actually available on Amazon Prime. And Mangrove is chronologically the earliest of the 5, and it's absolutely exceptional. It's like the history of West Indian, the West Indian London community, and how they had this bar and restaurant was sort of their social center, and like the racist police force just kept shutting it down over and over again over the course of decades. It's an incredible film. All 5 of the films are great. My personal favorite is from that series is Lovers Rock, which is just, I mean, it's only about 65 minutes long, and it is perfection. It will make you want to like turn up a dub sound system and like have some curry. It is so good, and it's like the whole series is great, and like it is, if you have Amazon Prime, it is absolutely worth exploring because all 5 of them are great, and they're doing completely different things. Like they're all set in different time periods. There's no like recurrent characters who like pop up in multiple ones, so you can literally take them one at a time as you see fit. And you can't go wrong with that because it's really, really good.
That's great. And he asked about Lady Gaga. Is she like Madonna or something else?
No. Look, I'm going to be honest here. I love Madonna, and she's great in Desperately Seeking Susan, and she's fine in Dangerous Game and Girl 6, and she's very good in Evita, but she's not an actress in the way that you require. Like she's an icon. Like she's almost an object. When you put her in your film, you're placing her there as like a grand form of set design. Whereas Gaga, I mean, like, now granted, we just have A Star Is Born, but she's incredible in that. She's utterly incredible in that. She got the Best Actress nomination, rightfully so. I mean, she won the Oscar for writing the song. And then, but if you think back to the very first trailer for that, where they just sort of like were cutting around the songs and just using little bits of the performances to build the drama of the film. And like, before you even go in to see it, she was amazing. She had you hooked. And I just, and a part of it is also because, I mean, she's an NYU girl, so I've got her back for that. Same as Angelina Jolie. I've got to have my alma mater actresses. I got to have their back. But she's genuinely great in A Star Is Born, and she's also been very particular in the choices that she's made. And the fact that she didn't immediately rush into another film, she like took her time. She did that. She had the residency in Las Vegas, where like one night she was doing the Big Pop Arena tour, and the other night she was doing the Intimate Jazz Club show. And then she did that whole special with Tony Bennett while he's still able to perform. I mean, like, she's got diverse interests, and like now she comes back to films, and it's exactly because it's an event. Like, people are asking about this because she's Gaga. She is a big deal, and she's using her fame in a really smart way. And she approaches acting the same way she does to making pop records, which is disciplined, diligent and putting 110% into everything. And it's like, you know, and that's no shade on Madonna, but I don't think Madonna was ever the actress that Gaga is.
Very interesting. Okay, Mike, thank you for those questions. All right, we have to take a break. And then, all right, we'll talk about streaming movies, and then this, you know, what are some of your favorite just holiday movies in general? Christmas movies, holiday movies, whatever. Take a break. Be back right after this.